We are here, we make change to your life in every way. We expand on your mind, so you're never the same. In your health, in your wealth, in your body and soul. Pushing you to live life completely whole, so you grow and achieve all this purpose to be. We expect nothing less, no more mediocrity. The upgraders, the upgraders, the upgraders, the upgraders, the upgraders, the upgraders.
Okay.
Secrets of Success, Scene 1, Take 1, Dexter Scott.
My name is Dexter Scott. I'm co-owner of The Upgraders.
My name is Tonya Joyner-Scott. I'm a co-owner of The Upgraders.
And these are my untold secrets
Of my success.
Years ago, my wife Tonya and I, we were getting our house refinanced. And the gentleman who came as the appraiser, he came with his daughter. She was like 3 years old.
I established an interest in entrepreneurship. Actually, it's something that was inside of me for a long time, but I didn't recognize it.
And I was just so impressed because I'm like, this guy's actually appraising our property and he has his daughter with him.
So it's something that's been inside of me, but I didn't quite know what to do with it.
So I said, what do you do? He said, I'm an appraiser. I said, wow, how much does that pay? And anybody that's ever had their home refinanced, you pay anywhere from $300 to $400.
I found out very early on that I had a gift when it came down to creating.
I thought that was pretty impressive that he had an opportunity to bring his daughter with him while he worked, while he did his business.
Floral arrangements, event planning. I found myself wanting to help people just to live a better life. But one thing I didn't know how to do was really how to monetize it.
I actually began to say, you know what? There's something to that. And what I did is actually look into real estate appraisals, which I eventually went into.
And that's when entrepreneurship began, when I started finding out how to actually monetize those giftings.
Entrepreneurship offers freedom. That's it. I mean, it's, in a nutshell, anybody that wants to be in business for themselves, they want to dictate their own schedule. And for me, over the years, I found it to be totally awesome.
I could see decor. I love to decorate. I would have visions about how to make things look better, be better, because I wanted people to experience it.
That I can put our smaller kids on the bus, and when they get off the bus in the evening, we're there to greet them.
And one of the things that I realized oftentimes is people would converse with me. And I found myself giving people information. I found myself giving people counsel and advice. Well, a lot of times people don't know, you may not know, that these are giftings inside of you. And what it is that you're able to do is to help people to live and be better.
One of the things that I had to learn how to do was to be able to articulate what it is that I'm trying to do to the person that I'm speaking to.
It's just how God made us. That's how He made this world. There's things He put in you for me. There's things He's put in me for you. It's our responsibility to give it to each other. That's how increase happens in life.
And I needed to understand that everybody's not going to get it, and that's okay.
I enjoyed it. And when you enjoy what you do, you don't have to be paid for it. Well, that was my problem.
Just a few days ago, I received an inbox from somebody trying to pitch a business to me. And I said to them, thanks, but no thanks. I'm hyper-focused in business right now.
I had a lot of businesses. I had a lot of things that I was doing, but I wasn't really charging people for the service that I was providing.
And I need to just concentrate on what I'm doing, but thank you anyway. And the person came back and said again, I'm not trying to pitch you my business. You've just turned me off because, you're not saying yes.
And my husband would talk about, going with me and all of this work he's doing, tugging things, loading the car up, putting up things, breaking it down, and for us to leave at the end of the day tired and broke.
And I said, hey, I just told you I'm busy, but, it's okay. Much success to you.
Someone walked up, I heard them talking to the bride, and they said, I know you paid 5 figures for this. And she's looking like not even close.
Then the person came back again with a few more insults. And I actually recognized where she was because early in business, I would introduce a product or service to someone. And when they said no, I instantly became offended.
Tonya had to grow up, and I had to come to realize that for any service that you provide, you also have to be compensated for it.
And that actually just took me back to the beginning stages of when we started business.
Because the only way the business world, the only way the world in general is going to continue to go, is going to continue to have surplus, is if we're feeding one another's gifts. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned since I've been a part of entrepreneurship.
Be comfortable with the no's. Everybody's not going to see your vision, and that's okay. While it is a part of the process, we need to grow from it.
I've had to learn how sometimes to say yes, sometimes to say no. I've had to learn that maybe you can't work with me right now, but there is someone that you can work with.
I remember when the gentleman came and appraised our home, and I was able to get involved in real estate appraisal. So that's exactly what I did.
Tonya did this for a long time. I argued for my limitations. I would find reasons as to why I shouldn't do something or reasons why I can't do something. And I've now learned to argue for my value.
I went on this mission to appraise properties. I found a couple of different supervisors, and I did around 500 houses within a 2-year span.
As an entrepreneur, your value will change. Everybody has to start. And when you start, it may be where I'm just now learning and I can't do some of the things that I see other people doing. That happens.
So now it's time for me to take the real estate appraisal examination as a trainee. I went in to take the test. It was a 4-hour exam in math. I mean, it was, oh my God, you could not realize how hard it was. So at the end of the 4 hours, I hit enter on the keyboard. It submitted instantly my grades to the center in which I was testing.
As you continue to grow in knowledge, as you continue to increase in knowledge and understanding and wisdom, then what's gonna come with that is your value is also increasing.
I walked up to the desk. The lady said, Mr. Scott, can you come up here for a minute? And I walked up to the desk and the lady said, I'm sorry, but you failed your examination. I didn't even call my wife Tonya to tell her I failed the exam, but it took me 2 days to get over that.
Which means people now may not be able to afford you that could afford you before. People now that you work with will be on another level, another caliber, and you have to be okay with that.
It just took me back, and I said, by how many points? She said 3 points. And it was almost as if somebody just put a truck on my head. I just sank down in, I would like to call a small depression.
When you argue for your value, you have to be able to get to a place where you say, this is who I am. This is what I can do. This is how I can help you. So this is what you can expect from me.
And what I realized in the last few years is that studying different people that are successful, that were successful, is that failure is a part of the process. That's what I had to learn as an adult.
It's amazing to me because in life, do you know what we do? We pay people for their other value. Let's talk business. Even in McDonald's, they say, you want to upgrade that? Well, if you say yes, they don't charge you the same amount that they would have if you kept it where it was.
Public speaking for me started when I was a child reading scripture in church. I was always the one that they call on to do the responsive reading. So here I am, I'm nervous, and they say responsive reading, Dexter Scott. So I walk up and I put the Bible and I put it, on the thing, and I said, I'm reading from blah, blah, blah. And then I read the scripture, may the Lord add a blessing to the reading of his word. Then I go sit down. So after church, you know how the mothers at church will come up to you and say, Oh, baby, one day you're going to be a pastor. Oh, baby, they saying all this kind of stuff. But what I realize is that is what birthed the voice within me.
An upgrade means increase. Increase for them as well as for you. We give our attention so often to many people, but we don't know how to give it back to ourselves.
To be able to speak a certain way, to change my diaphragm, my delivery with power and all those kinds of things. That's where it was birthed.
Well, for me, I've learned balance, but there's something you gotta understand about that word.
3 keys to public speaking. Number 1, fail. Number 2, fail. Number 3, fail.
In life, really, balance isn't equality. Balance more so is priority. In life, we have different seasons, different things going on, and there may be something going on in your life right now that requires your attention. But last week or last month, something else required your attention.
And I say that, a lot of people are not comfortable with that, but once you get comfortable with failing, then you will follow the quote by Samuel Beckett, who said, have you ever tried, ever failed? It doesn't matter. Try again, fail better.
So the prioritizing of it may shift and may change. I may need to give 50% of my time to this, 30% of my time to this, 20% of my time to this. Next month, I may be giving 30% to what I once gave 50% to because things have shifted.
I've spoken to probably at this point, 100,000 people. And this has all happened in the last 6 years. And I've gotten in front of people and my mind went blank. I wasn't able to deliver. That was a failure.
Multiple streams of income is no longer a luxury, but a necessity. I was a stay-at-home mom, and my husband, he was the one working, and he received a phone call one day where basically his boss told him that his job had been eliminated. So where we found ourselves was in a place, here we are with our children, we have a house, a family, and now we have 0 income coming into the household.
But I kept going. See, that's the key. You got to keep going. I got up, spoke, voice cracking. You just got to go through that.
See, I wasn't working, nor was I doing anything in business.
See, the key is nobody knows what you're going to say. So if you are able to take what we call in speaking a pregnant pause, and then you go back once you gather yourself.
Now, I had stepped into entrepreneurship a few years earlier, but after experiencing a downfall, it scared me, and I pulled myself back, and I stopped dreaming for a very long time. But my husband, he never stopped dreaming.
Then you're able to continue. So that's why I say failing is 3. Fail, fail, fail. Top 3 things. Because when you're comfortable with that, not only are you going to be a dynamic speaker, but you're going to be really good in business also. In May of 2014, May 2nd to be exact, at 11 a.m. in the morning, I received a telephone call. My boss said these words. He said, Dexter, I'm sorry, but we are eliminating your position out of the state of North Carolina.
Now the job is gone. What in the world are we going to do?
So in a 2-minute phone call, we lost our entire income coming into our house, 6-figure income, gone just like that.
Fear will immobilize you. Fear will keep you from progressing and moving forward. And that's what it did for me.
Now, what added insult to injury is that Tonya and I, my wife and I, 2 days later, we were leaving on a vacation to Italy, 8 days. So I received that call 2 days before going out of the country on vacation. I was afraid, I was shocked. I didn't know what was going to happen.
A lot of times when fear is present, what we want to do is to come into agreement with it. So I came into agreement with it. And there were times that I was even afraid of success. But when that job was gone, I have nothing else to fall back on. See, a lot of times employment is security for people. There's a lot in us. Nothing wrong with employment. Even for those of us in business, we employ people. It's a good thing. But even with that, there's always something that any individual can do themselves.
Remember, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It was that time that I needed to focus on my power and not the fear of the unknown.
So what I had to do is come into agreement with the opposite of what fear was doing in my life in order for me to grow. In life, there's always opposition. If there's an up, there's a down. If there's an in, there's an out. If there's a hot, there's a cold. Otherwise, it wouldn't be.
By me tapping into my fear, my wife and I tapping into who we are, it resulted in us being now successful in what we do. And we are continuing to add notches to our belt of success.
How can there be an in if it's not an out? You get that? If there's fear, then it must be fear of something that really could be.
I became introduced to network marketing when my wife, when we got married, she had actually done a company at that time. And I knew about it, but I didn't know a lot of the concepts about network marketing.
When you're afraid to live, when you're afraid to be who you are, when you're afraid to just expand and to grow, it opens you up for so many things to come to you because of the stories that we tell ourselves in our minds.
My wife and I, we were able to join a company, I think it was around 2009. And that's when I began to see the power of network marketing.
There are things that people can say to you, but you always want to bring the opposition to it, that you don't come into agreement with the true essence of who you are.
Network marketing just celebrated 50 years of being in existence last year. And I think that says something. It's so new, but yet the concepts are so powerful.
What you can be, how you can grow, how you can live, what it is that you can do, and you will find an excuse. No matter what comes your way to tell you that you can't, the only reason why it can tell you you can't is because you can.
That it could literally take you as an individual from being, let's say, an employee of your current position. You can get into network marketing, and within 30, 60, 90 days, you are already in a leadership position.
An opposite can't be present without the other thing being present too. So who are you?
Because you have to be able to lead those that are under you.
There's an enemy to our destinies, to our purposes, that wants you to think you can't. It's a lie. You can. Come into agreement with the truth. That's how I was able to overcome fear.
See, whatever you focus on the longest becomes the strongest. There's a quote that says that.
I got out of my own way. I humbled myself, and pride had to take a back seat to what the need was in our household, which is income. So I listened, and I heard, and I paid attention, and I got started.
The problem in network marketing and in business is that we don't focus on one thing long enough. See, if we want to be a better recruiter, then in network marketing, then we have to focus on recruiting.
Direct sales has been life-changing. Direct sales, network marketing, MLM, you may hear it many kinds of ways, but I'm gonna tell you what it will do. It's so much more than just money, but there's growth here. A lot of people find and identify their purpose.
You never see someone who decides to open up a McDonald's franchise. You never see them go after opening up a McDonald's franchise and then they switch 6 months later or a year later or even 3 years later and decide that they want to go open up a Burger King franchise. It just doesn't work.
Your mind, your thinking is going to change. How you feel about yourself is going to change. What it is that you can accomplish is going to change. You're going to realize I can do so much more. And my goodness, your pocketbook, it will most definitely change.
Wow, teamwork is phenomenal because see, you as a leader, you have to be able to help the person on your success team. It's known as a downline, right? We call it downline. But you have to be able to help those underneath you.
Honestly, with his position being eliminated, it was the best thing that could have ever happened to us. I could have very easily said, oh my God, it's over.
With social media and all things information-based, we're inundated on a daily basis of things trying to grab our attention. But if we learn how to focus on one course until successful.
I had a husband with vision. I had a husband who was dreaming. I had a husband who saw in me what I didn't see in myself. I want to know who you're around. Who's talking to you? What are you listening to? Who's in your circle? Who are you following? Who are you giving your attention to? It matters.
That's what focus means. If we're able to focus on a thing, then we will be able to see where we can have success. And it really doesn't matter the specifics if you just focus on that one thing.
In one period of time, your sales are just going crazy. Then all of a sudden it seems like it's not happening. Well, what do? I found myself in that place before, but the difference between the old Tonya and what Tonya was going to do this time is not quit.
Shakespeare said, imagination is the preview of what's to come in our lives. Tonya and I, as the upgraders when we hold leadership and training, we teach people how to tap into the theater of the imagination. You have to know how to shut all things off and then go into your imagination.
Failing is something that now I embrace. You're growing through things opposed to going through things. A lot of times we come in life and we say, man, this is what's happening. Look at what I'm going through. I used to be that way. Now it's look at what I'm growing through.
Years ago, I used to work for a company that was founded by one of our sitting presidents, President Eisenhower. And before I got that position, I spent some time in the theater of my mind. And Tonya finds this funny, but what I used to do was I find a dark place in the house. For me, it was going into the bathroom. I mean, I would go into the bathroom, cut out all the lights, and just sit there and go into the theater of my mind. I would actually walk through, standing up on stage, seeing the audience through my eyes, hitting highs and lows and watching the audience clap their hands and watch them think.
When you're going through, oftentimes you don't tap into that side of the brain where the creative is happening, but you go analytical, and it's those X's again. We found ourselves really having to not only be leaders, but develop leaders. There's something that leadership has established at the top that trickles down to everyone that is present.
And then I would exit stage right and shake people's hands and take pictures. I spent time in the theater of my mind before I got that position.
They have a model in place for people to follow. Always know that people are watching you. Leaders produce leaders. A true leader produces other leaders. 6
months later, standing up on stage at a college in Virginia, the state of Virginia, 200 people in the audience. I'm up on stage and I'm talking and I'm telling jokes and I'm giving information and people are clapping and they're really excited. And then when I exited stage right, I shook someone's hand and then they asked to take a picture with me. That's when I realized, wow, our imagination is a preview of what's to come.
Recently I had someone send me a message. They sent me a message and they said, I've been watching you, I've been listening. And they said, and you encouraged me, but I realized that I've given so much of myself to so many people, and I've been doing this all of my life, that there is nothing left for me to do. And I said, I picked up my phone and I hit play and I actually recorded a voice message to them. I didn't even type it out. See, I wanted them to hear me, because I'm gonna tell you the same way I shared with this young lady. As long as there is life in your body, you always have time.
We evolve, as we are doing things, we have to evolve. If we look back a year before the present time and we haven't changed, then there's something wrong. I am the voice that motivates, unlocking the seal to empower you. That seal, what I took that from was, if you can imagine, you can go to the store right now and buy like a Planters peanuts or something. When you unlock the seal, you hear the pressure release.
Whether you're with me in a conversation camp, whether you're with me at my Be Yourself conference, whether you're with me in a counseling one-on-one, you have to know and understand that within you there is life.
When that pressure is released, then the contents inside, now you're able to open it up and see what the contents are all about. I unlock the seal of the contents. that are within you. We all have giftings. We all have things that we have been placed on this earth to do. So we have to be able to unlock and reveal those things that are within us.
God has given you the gift of life. Open your gift.
There's a quote that says, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful. It is beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that frightens us most. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? The world is not served by your playing small.
Open your present. There's instruction manuals to anything that's made. There's also instruction manuals for you.
There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that others won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give others permission to do the same. And as we are liberated from our fear, our very presence liberates others.
Life is 10% what happens to you, 90% how you respond.
We are realizing that there are many people that are attached to us living our power. And as we do that, we are allowing and we're giving others permission to do the same.
My name is Tonya Joyner-Scott. I am one of the upgraders, and these are my untold secrets to success.
This is Dexter L. Scott. I am the voice that motivates, and these are my untold secrets to success.
The upgraders. The upgraders. The upgraders. The upgraders.